At the same time, Saturn to the moon, it can affect the pressures from mom or from family. It can be pressures around health that comes up. Some physical things that have to be, some diet has to be adjusted, some things have to be adjusted around that. So it's a good year for discipline around one's habits, disciplined habits, not for indulgent habits. So setting up writing disciplines and basic habits would be a practical thing that would reinforce the writing career. I think because Saturn's there, it sets up the structure of what has to be done, but it may not pull in, which I might make a steady income. Steady is possible, abundant is not necessarily so, and it's possible sometimes if you're a writer and you sit down, I'm going to write, and you're not feeling good, you can, 8 hours can go by, you might write an hour or two a day, force yourself an hour or so a day, the whole day went by. Sometimes it's easier to have a part-time job or something and be making some money, and so that it takes care of that part, so you have at least the evenings or 4 or 5 hours a day that you could write. So there's some practical considerations like this that she has to do, but long term, she's wanting to write and set up the career writing, but she has a lot more content, or lots more to learn, lots more to study, and perhaps many more places to travel to learn to get the content so everyone wants to hear everything she has to say. So she has the skills, she knows what she wants. She's trying to figure out what she wants to do Saturn above the rise, when really it's getting the depth, knowing what she wants to write, what she wants to be involved in, or how she wants to think, how she wants to live. That is the puzzle for the next 15 years. So from her chart, her Mercury is the one planet not badly aspected. And so the idea of writing, that's cool, but she still has to solve the puzzles of the other stress patterns and take care of stuff and be stable enough to be consistently writing. All the Saturn is going through the Capricorn. Pluto's in Capricorn, but it's finished with her. It's finished with her in terms of hitting strong things. Uranus is going into Taurus. It's going over the IC to change her personal motivation and change where she's living and her career. She wants to change. Don't want to go back to Eagle. Wants to go towards the new. But the Saturn coming down through the first house, she has to work at it. And as she runs into blocks or difficulties, she's going to have to find teachers or find people to solve the blocks and learn how to solve them herself, or add these skills to do this. So maybe she knows word processing. Maybe she has to learn other writing skills or other ways of working with. Maybe she had some photography with it, or maybe she had some design. I'm not sure, but it keeps implying learning. So this is the material I have. By knowing these things, I'm well equipped to go into this consultation. I can go and I'm going to talk to her. Well, what are you doing? What's happening? And I ask her about home, family. I go into all the moon questions. Ask about the writing, and ask her what she's doing, where she's at with it, what she can do with it, how she plans at it. I certainly wouldn't discourage her from writing completely. I think I wouldn't be discouraging her. I say, but you're writing and you're studying. You're adding content, you're adding things. And her way of studying, Pisces on the third house, cusp, the moon and Jupiter and ninth house, the title studying, teaching, she could be traveling and writing all the time, but she just have to impose discipline on her habits, the Saturn to the moon. So she's having to stabilize her habits now to get some stability so that she can write better. Okay, how are we doing for time? I know I went over. Oh, not too bad. So you don't always get an exact answer to someone's question, but you see enough things around it and where it's going that as you talk about these things, the person can see them. So I do a lot of consultations online, and I usually do it using a webinar so they can see the graphs and the charts. So when they see the graphs and they see the pattern play out and they understand you're really just explaining the things as they happen, it creates a much better relationship for you as the astrologer talking to them, and they're seeing the aspects as puzzles, as challenges, as they have to get through, as vulnerabilities they have to navigate through. And if they do it properly, they gain more from it. These next 2 years are just Saturn. They're hardworking years. There's no other big issue. She's having to stabilize and work to be more stable in her life. But it's not glamorous, cheerful, because the Saturn on the moon is still, personally, it's still Saturn in the first house on the moon, is still feeling inadequate, but not wasting time and having to strive to build new things, not because you want to, just because you can't stay where you are. That's the essential urge of that Saturn cycle coming around. So she wants to write, by all means, but she might do practical things for a couple of years and then write some fantasy novels for a couple of years, write some romantic novels or things. Like if you're writing, you're going to do a lot of things. Like with astrology is just one thing. It's too narrow a career to say I'm just going to write an astrology. You can do that. I've lived just in astrology. Most people don't. But then there's times when I remember I had to give a lecture to the Harlequin romance writers of North America. They had their conference here in Toronto, and they asked me to come and give a lecture on character. So I give a lecture on how to maintain character. So if someone's writing a novel and suddenly in the middle of it, in the middle of the movie, in the middle of the book, something happens and the character starts acting in a way that's not them, it kills the story. So being able to maintain the character is the same thing as maintaining the integrity of a horoscope. So it's a really great talk. I was talking about plants, how people have to be expressed within the parameters of how they process. So there's many ways of her ability to merge the astrology with the psychological, with writing, and come up with social perceptions is really incredible. And she'll have a vast, crazy run of stories to be able to talk about. So she has life where she's going to learn a lot from her life, but how much she has to show the career is not the important thing. The Uranus and Tentas doing something different, being radical, that's shocking. It's more being trustworthy, having some financial security. That's the Sun and the 8th, being socially relevant and meaningful in a shocking way. That works. And the need to express oneself on impulse and to express things, and when something's wrong, to blow up about it and say something about it. That's that Moon and Aries. So as a writer, she could write a light book and a dark book. She could do high and low. She could do, there's things to stretch that are her personal therapy. And as she goes through this, it will bring out the greater writer. So I see the writing as a long-term capacity, and the astrology as well. And I see that even the art therapist, the master's art therapist, with the astrology and a bit of psychology in the art therapy, wow, these things all fit together in a really nice package when you're trying to direct someone. Her puzzle is the needing to belong, the reacting to other people, and reacting to people and trying to find people who are trustworthy. She's trying to be trustworthy, but she might be around a lot of people who aren't so trustworthy, and it's more difficult to find who's really reliable or trustworthy. Neptune, Venus, Neptune, Mars, its main T-square. So we see the T-square as astrologers, and we work it because we know that's the type of problems, but really the solution is to find her values, Venus, with her Sun, do something beautiful that she likes that has social value, 8th house. Fundraiser for a good cause, writing things to support a good cause, so it pulls in money to help the cause. That comes so close to her. But the issue of trust, and she's having to learn in this life from the mistrust that she grew up in. So that she grew up with these things. Instead, this is the karma of how come you got the chart you got. In another lifetime, she may have been the parent that left her mother, who was her kid, left her kid, and that kid was her mother this life. You don't know. It's possible. Like, it depends which way you look at a chart. So I'm not going to take this further, but this was just a good run. We didn't have enough to really go into the details, but I'm going to add this for each class now. I am going to add this 2-year graph. So you have all the pieces to be paired. Many times I do a consultation and I've solved it with the Saturn graph just by that. Sometimes the Saturn graph, and I see the other extremes with the 8-year graph. And 50% of my clients, I solve the problem there. I don't even have to get into the week by week or the daily things going on. When I do have to, and there's something more immediate blowing up or going up, or do I stay? Do I let the job? Do I walk off? Do I go? Then I look at the 2 years and I see I already have them marked in the disruptive times. Then I try and work with how that works. And I have to trust. It depends how well Jupiter understands the Saturn and the conflict is going around to be able to guide the Mars. And that's not something so easy to see. Can't just say, oh, you're going to do this. It depends. If you're not understanding right, that Mars aspect can get you in a lot of trouble. If you're not understanding, the Jupiter aspect can convince you of wrong things and misunderstandings. So there's puzzles always with this Mars and Jupiter. It's very useful. Once you're into a person, into what's going on in their life now and where they're coming from, what they're going to, this 8-year graph, this 2-year graph is very valuable. And it helps. These are all the tools you need to do constantly. You're not going to have to watch the moon each day. You talk about that, you're going to lose all your time. You don't have time to talk about. You're only putting an hour or two in with someone. It's hard. We've just spent 2 hours talking about a chart. It could easily be 4. Okay, so around her question, we didn't exactly answer it, but we saw some implications around it, and she's going to be worried. Oh, geez, it's not going to be that easy. We can't just make the steady. She could, but it wouldn't be exactly what she wants. So I think there's ability to expand. Like she might have another job as well as the writing, or she may have to do some writing she doesn't want to do for a job or career or something. Do some reporting, do some other writing, and keep her own writing going. It's just going to be effort and time to do that, but it's not. So any achievement to come will come from just steady, consistent work over these 2 years. So if she was trying to build up an astrology site or a book, she's got practical work to actually pull it off and finish it. That Moon in Aries likes to start things and can walk away before it's finished because it's too hassle. Now she has to grow up and learn Saturn. You can't just quit. I'm going to have to work when I get something accomplished. Man, a book for her would be her ticket. Would be a ticket to, like, here's my establishment. I get recognized for this, and it improves her self-worth to encourage so many other things she wanted to do. So I'd be encouraging the writing, but I'd be more wary around how much money she's going to be, or how soon she's going to be able to be reliable about it, and how far she has to go with it. Okay, I'll end it here. Okay, next week. Sorry, get the next week's chart. Where are we? Images, astrology, RASA, webinars, 7. Okay, so I'm just double checking here. Yeah, okay. So here's the chart we have to do for next week. July 25th, 1959, another Leo. Okay, so we're going to do this. So I want you to do the Saturn 90-year graph, the 8-year graph. We're doing it as of today. The consultation will be for next week. So that's going to be February 12th of 2019. So 4 years before that, then 19, 20, 21, and 22. So 4 years forward. And then I want you to do the 2-year graph from, as we'll do it from January of 19 up to December up to January of 22, of 20, 1920 up to January 21. Okay, that's it for now. Okay, night.